Welcome to Mr. Hutchings History, where the past comes alive. Let's dive into today's story.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're diving into a pretty important moment, I'd say, in the civil rights movement.
Yeah,
The Montgomery Bus Boycott.
absolutely.
We got a great episode sent to us from Mr. Hutchings History. It's about Martin Luther King Jr. and the Montgomery Improvement Association.
Okay.
And we'll explore how this boycott, started with that famous act of defiance from Rosa Parks.
Right.
How it changed an entire community and really, launched a leader, onto the national stage.
Yeah, you know what's really fascinating about this story is how it shows, the power of people coming together, everyday people working together to challenge, really deep-seated systems.
Yeah.
We're going to uncover the thinking behind it, the strategies, and the incredible sacrifices that fueled this, year-long protest.
It all started, most people probably already know this, with Rosa Parks refusing to give up her seat
Right.
on a Montgomery bus in 1955.
Yeah.
But, a successful boycott needs more than just courage from one person, right?
Yeah.
It needed organization and leadership.
Absolutely.
And so then enter the Montgomery Improvement Association,
Right.
MIA.
The MIA,
Yeah.
they needed a leader, someone who could, bring together Montgomery's Black community.
Yeah.
And their choice is really fascinating.
Yeah.
This young, relatively unknown pastor named Martin Luther King Jr. steps into the role.
Yeah, it's interesting because some historians suggest he was like a compromise candidate.
Right.
Was it simply because he was new to Montgomery?
That's one theory, yeah.
Yeah.
But think about this.
Yeah.
He was already a pastor at Dexter Avenue Baptist Church.
Well.
So that gave him a platform.
Right.
And a sense of, moral authority within the Black community.
Right.
Plus the NAACP, despite being a major force in the civil rights movement,
Yeah.
couldn't lead this particular fight.
Okay.
Their focus was national, and a lot of their members in Montgomery worked at Alabama State College.
Right.
And becoming too politically active could have cost them their jobs.
So King rises to lead the boycott. What was his message? How did he, inspire people to join this? This was huge.
Yeah, he called for justice and nonviolent resistance, and his words from his very first speech as MIA president, I think, still resonate today.
Yeah.
He said, we are here this evening because we are tired now. We are tired of being segregated and humiliated, tired of being kicked about by the brutal feet of oppression.
Yeah, you can, feel the weight of those words, just the determination
Yeah.
for change.
Absolutely.
And change wouldn't come easy.
No.
For this boycott to really work, they needed everyone to participate.
Yeah.
It wasn't just about, making a statement. It was about, impacting the city, their bus system, their economy.
Absolutely. We're talking about nearly almost every single one of Montgomery's 50,000 Black residents chose to boycott the buses. Think about that for a minute.
Yeah.
Buses were how most people got to work, to school,
Yeah.
to their daily lives.
Everything.
Yeah, to
Right.
willingly disrupt, to endure hardship.
Mhm.
That shows how committed they were to the cause.
Yeah. What do you think contributed to that level of commitment?
Hmm.
Was it simply just that shared sense of injustice? Or were there, deeper social and economic, dynamics at play?
It was complicated. A bunch of forces coming together. You had the long history of segregation and discrimination,
Right.
of course. But you also had a really strong sense of community
Right.
within Montgomery's Black population,
Yeah.
fostered by churches,
Okay.
social organizations, shared experiences.
Yeah.
This existing network made it easier to organize and to spread the word about the boycott.
Right.
And don't forget the economic pressure.
Yeah.
The boycott wasn't just about inconvenience.
Okay.
It was about hitting the city where it hurt their wallets
Yeah.
by not riding the buses.
Yeah.
Black residents were sending a clear message.
Right.
We are a vital part of this city's economy,
Yeah.
and we won't be treated like second-class citizens anymore.
So it really became about more than just bus seats. It was about dignity, economic power, and a fundamental shift in the power dynamics of Montgomery.
Precisely. And the community's willingness to sacrifice for this cause is remarkable.
Yeah.
There's a story that I think really captures this spirit.
Okay.
An elderly woman, she spotted a man who had broken the boycott,
Oh, no.
riding a bus, and she chases after him.
Wow.
And when the bus driver offered to wait for her, she said, I ain't rushing to get on your bus. I'm just trying to catch up with that man who just got off so I can hit him with this here stick.
Wow. That's incredible.
It shows you how deeply the boycott was woven into the fabric of the community.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a suggestion. It was a way of life, a powerful act of solidarity.
Exactly. And to make this work, they needed more than just willpower.
Right.
right?
Right, yeah.
They needed practical solutions to like keep people moving, to keep the boycott going.
Absolutely.
And that's where the carpool system comes in.
Yes. This intricate network of rides organized by the MIA.
Right, with people like Rosa Parks playing like a key role.
Yes.
This wasn't just about getting people from A to B.
No.
It was a logistical marvel
Absolutely.
and a powerful symbol of community strength.
Yeah. People shared rides with neighbors, church members, even strangers,
Wow.
united by this cause. Imagine the level of coordination and trust this required.
So the carpool system did more than just solve the transportation problem.
You got it.
Right.
It strengthened those community bonds,
Yeah.
sharing rides, waiting together, relying on each other day after day.
Yeah.
It fostered a sense of shared purpose, a feeling that they were all in this together.
Yeah.
It's a testament to the MIA's organizational skills and that deep sense of community within Montgomery's Black population.
So they're walking, they're carpooling, they're united.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm guessing it wasn't all smooth sailing.
Oh, of course not.
Right. There must have been pushback attempts to like undermine the boycott.
Oh, absolutely. The city wasn't just going to sit back and watch their bus system, their economy be disrupted like that.
Right.
They fought back and things escalated quickly. We'll dive into those challenges after a short break.
Sounds good.
The city, they tried everything to disrupt the boycott. They declared the carpool system illegal.
Oh, wow.
Police harassed drivers, gave out fines, just tried to intimidate anyone involved.
So it really became like a battle of wills.
Oh, yeah.
A test of their resilience.
Absolutely. But it gets even tougher.
Okay.
White-owned insurance companies started canceling the policies of Black car owners who were participating in the carpool system.
Oh, my gosh.
Imagine the risk these drivers were taking,
Yeah.
not only for themselves, but for the whole movement.
That's incredible. So they were really putting everything on the line.
Yeah.
How did the MIA respond to this?
They got creative.
All
They
right.
secured insurance coverage from Lloyd's of London,
Wow.
showing how resourceful they were and how committed to keeping the boycott going.
That's amazing.
It shows that they were thinking strategically, planning for the long term.
This wasn't about buses anymore, was
Yeah.
it? It became a fight against like the entire system of segregation.
You're exactly right. The boycott exposed this deep injustice, at the heart of Montgomery's social and economic structure.
Yeah.
And as the boycott continued, the MIA's demands, they evolved.
Okay.
Initially, they focused on just fair treatment on the buses, first served seating, courteous treatment from the drivers, hiring Black drivers.
Makes sense.
But when the city wouldn't budge, the boycott escalated into a direct challenge to segregation itself.
That shift in focus is huge.
Yeah.
They went from wanting accommodation within the system
Right.
to demanding a fundamental change to the system itself.
Exactly. And that shift led to a legal battle that would have far-reaching consequences.
Okay.
The Browder v. Gayle case challenged the constitutionality of bus segregation in Montgomery,
Wow.
and it eventually reached the Supreme Court.
That's incredible.
This wasn't just about local buses anymore.
Right.
It was about the future of segregation across the whole country.
Talk about raising the stakes.
Yeah.
And like you mentioned earlier, all of this was happening while there was all this intimidation and violence going on.
Yeah.
King himself became a target, didn't he?
Tragically, yes. In a horrifying act of violence, King's home was bombed.
Oh my God.
His wife, Coretta, and their baby daughter were inside at the time.
That's awful.
It's a stark reminder of the hatred and fear that fueled resistance to the civil rights movement.
How did King respond to that? I mean, that must have been terrifying.
Yeah.
Did it shake his commitment to nonviolence?
In a moment that really shows his character, King addressed a crowd gathered outside his damaged home.
Okay.
He urged them to stay calm,
Wow.
to resist the urge for retaliation,
Right.
and to stay committed to nonviolent resistance.
Yeah.
He told them, "We must meet hate with love."
Powerful words.
His ability to preach peace in the face of such a personal attack really solidified his leadership,
Right.
and it inspired the community to keep going.
It's an amazing display of courage and conviction. But like we've been talking about,
Yeah.
this wasn't just about one man. This was about a collective effort, a community united in their pursuit of justice.
Exactly. And that's where it gets interesting from a historical perspective.
Okay.
There are different schools of thought about King's leadership and what really led to the boycott success.
Let's unpack those a bit.
Yeah.
What are some of the main viewpoints?
Well, you have the Traditionalist View, which sees King as a uniquely gifted leader.
Yeah.
They emphasize his powerful speeches, his charisma, and his commitment to nonviolence. Historians who think this way often point to King's influence on national policy
Right.
and his role in shaping the entire civil rights movement.
That's the image I think a lot of people have of King, the iconic leader, the voice of a generation.
Right.
But you're saying there are other ways to understand his role in the Montgomery Bus Boycott.
Yeah, revisionist historians, while they still acknowledge King's importance, argue that it was the collective effort of the entire community that really made the boycott work.
Okay.
They highlight the sacrifices of countless individuals, you know?
Right.
The church leaders, the activists, the carpool drivers,
Yeah.
all the unsung heroes who made the boycott sustainable.
Yeah.
They see King as a symbol of the movement, but not necessarily the only driving force.
So it's a question of emphasis.
Yeah,
The individual leader versus the power of the community.
exactly. Are there any other historical interpretations we should consider?
Yeah. Are there any others?
There are. Social historians take that focus on community even further.
Okay.
They emphasize the role of existing community structures, especially Black churches.
Right.
Remember, churches were more than just places of worship.
Yeah.
They were social hubs, meeting places, sources of support.
Right.
They provided the organizational backbone of the boycott,
Yeah.
helping to spread the word, coordinate the carpools, and offer support to those who are struggling.
Okay.
They see the boycott's success as rooted in these existing networks of community and solidarity.
It's fascinating how these different perspectives can offer such nuanced interpretations of the same event. We've talked about the traditionalists, the revisionists, the social historians. Is there another perspective that we should consider?
Yes. Critical race theory offers another layer of understanding. This perspective focuses on the systemic challenges, the institutional racism that the boycotters faced.
Right.
It's not just about individual acts of prejudice.
Okay.
It's about how laws, policies, and social structures perpetuate inequality.
So you're talking about things like the police harassment,
Yeah.
the insurance cancellations, the
Yeah.
legal roadblocks
Right.
we had to overcome.
Yeah, these weren't just isolated incidents.
Right.
They were all part of a larger system designed to keep things the way they were to maintain racial segregation.
Right. So critical race theory helps us see the boycott as more than just a fight against segregation on buses.
Yeah,
It was a challenge to the whole system of white supremacy.
exactly. It's a reminder that even with strong leadership and a united community, dismantling these deep systems of oppression takes a lot of work
Yeah.
and a willingness to confront those power structures.
It's a sobering thought, but an important one.
Yeah.
So after a year of boycotts and carpools and legal battles and personal sacrifices, did they reach their goals? Was the Montgomery Bus Boycott ultimately successful?
The Montgomery Bus Boycott was a huge success.
Okay.
It didn't just desegregate the city's buses.
Right.
It had ripple effects far beyond Montgomery,
Yeah.
inspiring similar movements all over the country.
Wow.
But its significance goes beyond that immediate victory.
Okay.
It marked a turning point in the civil rights movement.
Right?
It showed the power of organized nonviolent resistance.
Yeah.
And it launched this young leader named Martin Luther King Jr. onto the national stage.
So this local protest that started with one woman refusing to give up her seat
Yeah.
ended up changing the course of American history.
It's a powerful testament to the courage and determination of ordinary people who stood up for what they believed in.
Absolutely.
And it offers valuable lessons for social movements today,
Yeah.
reminding us that change often starts small within a community, but its impact can be felt for generations.
That's a great point. We'll dive into those lessons in the lasting legacy of the Montgomery Bus Boycott after a short break. The Montgomery Bus Boycott, it wasn't just about the buses.
Right.
It was about fighting an entire system of oppression.
Yeah,
And it, really put the issue of segregation into the national spotlight.
absolutely.
And it helped make way for, future civil rights victories.
It did.
And it really solidified Martin Luther King Jr.'s role
Yeah.
as a national leader.
Yeah, his message of nonviolent resistance really connected with people
Yeah.
across the country and inspired so many others to join the fight for racial equality.
I'm thinking about everything we've talked about, and it's amazing just the resilience
Yeah.
of the people involved. Imagine walking miles every day facing harassment threats,
Yeah.
all for justice. It makes you realize the strength of their conviction,
It's humble.
their unwavering belief in their cause.
Yeah, and their efforts brought about real change. The boycott's success and the Supreme Court ruling in Browder v. Gayle directly led to the desegregation of buses in Montgomery.
Right.
But the impact went way beyond that.
Okay.
It inspired similar boycotts and protests across the South.
Wow.
And that fueled the momentum of the whole civil rights movement.
And the legacy of the boycott goes even beyond the civil rights movement, doesn't it?
It does.
Like the tactics of nonviolent resistance,
Yeah,
the power of collective action.
absolutely.
Those are principles that still inspire movements for social change today.
Yeah, think about the echoes of Montgomery in movements like Black Lives Matter,
Yeah.
the fight for climate justice,
Mm.
even global movements for democracy and human rights.
It's all connected.
It is. The principles of nonviolent resistance, strategic planning, and community solidarity are just as important today as they were back in 1955.
So as we're wrapping up our deep dive into the Montgomery Bus Boycott,
Okay.
what's the one key takeaway you want our listeners to think about?
Oh.
What's the lasting message of this event?
The Montgomery Bus Boycott reminds us that everyday people, when they come together for a common purpose, they have incredible power.
Yeah.
It shows us that change takes time.
Right.
It requires sustained effort planning and a willingness to sacrifice for something bigger than yourself.
It highlights the power of hope,
Yes.
even when things seem impossible.
Mm-hmm.
The boycotters face so much violence, intimidation, legal challenges,
Yeah,
but they persevered.
they did.
And ultimately, they changed history.
Their story is a powerful reminder of the human spirit,
Yeah.
our ability to be courageous, to be resilient, and to take action together.
It's inspiring.
It is. It's a story that keeps inspiring us to fight for justice, for equality, and for a better world.
Well, thank you for taking us on this deep dive into the Montgomery Bus Boycott.
Of course.
It's a story that deserves to be remembered,
Absolutely.
and its lessons applied to the challenges that we face today.
I agree.
Thanks for listening to Mr. Hutchings History. Keep exploring, and we'll see you next time.